Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 24th of July. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director at Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is the weekly video where I take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week we have IGO, Commonwealth Bank, Rio Tinto, Spark New Zealand and Rox Resources. So if you have a request, please send it through. Make sure you've signed up to the free newsletter, but our best recommendations come out every Tuesday in the Dynamic Investor Report. So make sure you're getting that report. But if you do enjoy these videos, I'd love you to share them on social media or even leave us a review. Our main business is in portfolio management. So if you'd like to have a managed account with me, then please let me know. And the advice here is general only. So we've got a daily chart here of IGO. Obviously, it's been downtrending since that peak in 2022, but we did have this one recently in the Dynamic Investor because it does look like a buy. So we've had this as a recent buy, basically for breaking above this resistance line. So we've identified this inverse head and shoulders here. So it does look like potential low is now in place. Now, in terms of trying to look for a buying opportunity, it's obviously run pretty hard. So if we can get some sort of pullback or consolidation, I think that would be the better entry point. You've got support at 450 to place your stop. Obviously, a bit of resistance up here near 550. So, the break above 550 would be a positive, of course. CBA, the one that everybody wants to know about. Look, if we go to the weekly chart, we did have this, we've been positive for a long time on CBA, ever since this major breakout. Obviously it seemed expensive, but the chart was saying it was going to go up for a period of time. Shorter term though, it is looking negative. So what we've got here now resembles an inverse head and shoulders. So we had this initial sharp pullback in CBA, a little bit of a base, looked like it was sort of breaking out on good volume here last week, but and potentially recovering, but that's now failed. So a couple of negative days has left it now looking negative. So you've got this sort of inverse head and shoulders, it's broken the neckline. Short term, it might come back up to test this line. If it could launch above this line pretty much in the next few days, then that actually would be a bit of a positive. But at the moment, I'd say odds are that maybe you get a retest and pulls back. So this line was also where the 50-day moving average was for CBA. So weakness ahead. Nearest support I think is in the low, sort of between 160, 165. Whether it goes down there and that's as far as it will go on the downside remains to be seen, but you'd have to say that it is looking decidedly more negative now. Rio, so if we have a look at a weekly chart, you can see, past sort of few years, pretty range bound, of course. Shorter term, it's trying to break resistance. Looked like it kind of got up there yesterday, closed near its lows. So yeah, look, now I guess we could say it's testing this major resistance line. Short term, it might sort of consolidate or just sort of take a bit of a breather, but I think ultimately if we get a clear break above that line, that would be a positive. Spark, if we have a look at the weekly chart, go back a while, we could see that there was a fairly clear uptrend in place and it broke that early last year. So we could see that you would have made all these gains for sort of 10 years, and then after breaking the downtrend, it's come all the way back and eliminated 10 years worth of gains. Of course you'd have some dividends, but what's the point of that over 10 years? So yeah, fairly negative there. If we have a look at the daily chart, we could see that it is edging higher. Coming up to resistance though, I think sort of near 250. You'd think this gap and this level here would provide some resistance. So look, it's slowly heading higher. I think it's probably a hold. You'd run a trailing stop under here. Really needs to clear this region, I think, before it actually looks a little bit more positive as a chart. And finally, Rox Resources. So, I mean, longer term, we've got this sort of clear level near 4 cents, so potentially building a base. But shorter term, what we've seen is we had a pullback here, looked like it was forming a bit of a base. And then a nice sort of breakout here a couple of days ago, good volume. It's come back yesterday a little bit, but staying above that sort of breakout line. So you'd say that that's a buy here. You could run a tight stop, say near 30 cents. And I'd expect it to run up towards 40 cents and at least retest that again. Okay, well, that's all for this week. If you have any requests, please send it through and I'll try to cover it next Thursday.